Okay, so our next speaker will talk about lead writing. Professor Felipe F. Salvosa II heads the journalism program of University of Santo Tomas, UST, overseeing the curriculum, faculty, and students in the bachelor's and master's level. He is also a researcher at UST Research Center for Culture, Arts, and the Humanities. He is an advisor to the Parcitarian, the 92-year-old official student publication of UST. Mr. Salvosa's journalism experience spans several publications, including the Financial Times of London, Business World, the Manila Times. He is now the editor of press1.ph, a news and information website. Let's hear it from Professor Felipe Salvosa. Good morning, sir.
Hi, good morning. Salamat po sa JSAP for the opportunity to speak to our journalism educators. So for today, I'm tasked to demo how I taught lead writing to a freshman journalism class. Bago namin i-play ang video, gusto ko lang sanang i-explain na itong video ay naging part ng isang buong module para sa mga estudyante. So, ginawa ito, in-upload namin ito sa aming learning management system na ang tawag ay Blackboard. No, may sarili siyang branding sa UST, yung UST Cloud Campus. Pero palagay ko, posible rin ito kahit sa mga free resources like Google Drive. So, pwede kayong gumawa ng module sa pamamagitan ng isang Google Drive, i-upload nyo doon ang video. Ako ang ginawa ko, bukod doon sa pag-upload ng video, I also uploaded a link to the file in a Google Drive para pwede nilang i-download kung mahina ang kanilang internet connection. In-upload ko rin ang aking PowerPoint para kung sakali ay mas gusto nilang pag-aralan ito at their own pace. At saka ang importante din sa pagbuo ng module, meron din agad assessment kahit papano. So, kung may test or may quiz, lalo na kung weekly lang ang inyong meeting at asynchronous pa. So, ang ginamit kong software ay isang software na developed by a company called TechSmith. Ang pangalan niya ay Camtasia. Yung software na yon ay very useful kasi pwede kang maglagay ng sarili mong branding, pwede kang maglagay ng lower thirds, at saka pwede ka ring maglagay ng mga magagandang transitions. No? Although ang sabi ng manufacturer, gusto daw ng mga estudyante yung hindi masyadong mataas ang production quality, kahit na naghihikab-hikab ang professor, mas gusto daw nila yun kasi natural daw. No? Ngayon, a note about the lead paragraph and news writing in general. Sa tingin ko, news writing is still a very important pedagogical tool. Bakit po? Kasi it forces students to organize their thoughts, to organize their details. No? And it also trains students to write and think based on paragraphs. No? Ito po ay galing sa isang veteranong newspaper editor, si Verhel Santos. Kasi sa experience ko bilang isang instructor sa mga freshman journalism students at school paper advisor, karaniwan pong kahinaan ng mga estudyante yung pagsulat ng lead paragraph. Minsan po, ang balita nasa harap na nila pero hindi nila alam kung ano yung mga pinaka-importanteng detalye. So ngayon, ipe-play ko na ho yung aking video. No? Kung meron mang pagkakamali, this is all my responsibility. No? So I'm also open to comments and suggestions, and later I can take questions if we still have time. Hi guys, today I'd like to talk about the lead paragraph, or the first paragraph of a news story. The lead paragraph is an important element of the news story because of two things. First, it summarizes the story so that people in a hurry could have a sense of what happened even if they don't have the time to read the whole story. Next, it also hooks the readers into reading the rest of the story. So it's really important to write a good lead. I'd like to start by saying that you should avoid leads that do not really say anything. You might encounter these types of leads in newsletters.
examples here of what we call non-leads, or leads that are ineffective, or leads that do not really say anything. First, the president addressed a gathering of angry commuters yesterday. This is a non-lead. Why? This doesn't really say anything about what happened. For example, what did the commuters tell the president? Did they get mad? Were they able to express their anger at the poor state of our commuter trains? What did the president say? Did the president promise to fix the trains so that commuters will have a better time commuting to the place of school or work? Second, the congressman spoke before a forum on the proposal to revise the 1987 Constitution. Question: what did the congressman say during the forum? Was he in favor of revising the Constitution? Why? Or was he not in favor of revising the Constitution? And what are his reasons? 3 tips in writing the lead paragraph. First, you should choose a strong verb. Next, use the active voice rather than the passive voice. And finally, don't put all 5 W's and 1 H in the lead. Here are examples of lead paragraphs with strong verbs. Let me read them to you. Malacanang on Friday barred teacher personnel from covering events at its press briefing room, releasing new protocols meant to prevent the spread of COVID-19. So we use here the verb barred instead of weaker verbs like, for example, stuck or halted. Okay? Another strong verb could be banned. So this conveys an idea that this is a drastic measure. Let's go to the second example. And this is a controversial statement by the president. President Rodrigo Duterte ordered law enforcers to shoot rioters and troublemakers and warned leftist groups not to cause public disturbances in an address on national television Wednesday night. So this is a clear picture of the president telling uniformed personnel or law enforcers to retaliate in case their lives are put in danger by troublemakers. This is a very unusual order. Usually, law enforcers are ordered to exercise maximum tolerance when there are protests or riots happening. So this is quite an unusual statement and a heavily criticized statement by the president. Our third example is this. President Rodrigo Duterte warned local governments on Friday to strictly follow quarantine rules to prevent the spread of coronavirus disease or face charges. So we use the verb warned, which I think is appropriate for the situation because the president really issued a warning on mayors and governors that if they don't follow the quarantine rules, they will face charges in court. Next, we have to learn how to write in the active voice. How do we write in the active voice? By following the SVO order, or the subject, verb, object order. The subject pertains to who did the action, the verb pertains to what happened, and the object is to whom it happened. Use a single sentence of no more than 35 words. You will find that when you use the active voice, you use fewer words. When you use the passive voice, that tends to lengthen your sentences. So the active voice really is the more appropriate sentence structure in writing the lead paragraph. We use our previous example. President Rodrigo Duterte ordered law enforcers to shoot rioters and troublemakers and warned leftist groups not to cause public disturbances in an address on national television Wednesday night. The subject is President Rodrigo Duterte, the verb is ordered, and to whom was the order given? The order was given our 35-word limit. In writing the lead, we need to pay attention to the order of information. So, as I said earlier, we have to highlight the most important part of the story and put it in the lead paragraph. So, for example, in this televised address made by the president on a Wednesday night, he said a lot of things. But among the many things that he said was his order to law enforcers to retaliate. This is the biggest thing that he said in that speech. And this is the story that was carried by many news organizations. Let's pay attention to the lead support. You can see that not all of the 5 W's and 1 H were placed in the lead paragraph. Some of them were placed in the lead support. So, which among the 5 W's and 1 H were included in the lead paragraph? So, you can see here that the who is placed in the lead paragraph. What else? The when, Wednesday night, and the what is ordered to law enforcers to shoot rioters and troublemakers. And then the lead support amplifies or provides more flesh to the lead paragraph by adding more details. For example, putting the statement into context. Maybe the question is, why did the president make such a statement? The president was reacting to a protest that same morning over the supposed lack of distribution in Quezon City. Now, what journalists usually do is they delay identification of the who when the who is not so well known. Here's an example. A member of the Presidential Anti-Graft Body on Thursday called on the National Bureau of Investigation to investigate Vice President Leni Robredo, claiming she made illegal solicitations that competed with government relief efforts amid the COVID-19 outbreak. So you can see in the lead paragraph that we did not put the name of the government official who called for an investigation of the Vice President. The name of that person, Manuelito Luna, Commissioner of the Presidential Anti-Corruption Commission, was placed in the lead support or in the second paragraph. Why? Because he's not so well known. Okay. Another important thing to consider when writing the lead paragraph is the time element. The advice of many editors is to put the time element after the verb. Here's an example. Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles clarified on Monday, April 6, that cash assistance to be given by the government will only be for the poorest or low-income families. In this lead paragraph, the verb is clarified, and the time element is on Monday, April 6. During my time when I was a reporter, our time element was always yesterday because we were writing stories that will be published in the newspaper the following day. But today, many journalism jobs are online. So we cannot really use the time element yesterday. So in many news websites, they put not only the day of the week, but also the exact date. Although sometimes this is not necessary because all stories have a timestamp on the website. Now, if the verb has no direct object, the best place for the time element is still after the verb. Example, the budget department said on Monday it would release 100 billion pesos in subsidies to poor families affected by the lockdown. What happens if the verb has a direct object? What is the best place for the time element? The best place for the time element is after the direct object. Example, President Rodrigo Duterte ordered the budget department on Friday to release 100 billion in subsidies to poor families affected by the lockdown. Another tip, don't bury your lead. Here's an example. This is a press release from the Laguna Lake Development Authority, a government agency program for. What will happen under that ambitious plan? It turns out that this plan really involves the resettlement of 12,000 households, meaning to say they will be transferred to a different place. Isn't that the story? Actually, the word resettlement is what we call in journalism as a euphemism, or words that are used to conceal harsh truths. What will really happen is that 12,000 families or 12,000 households will be ejected from Laguna Lake. So how do we rewrite the first paragraph? First, I'd like to change the headline. Laguna Lake Agency to evict 60,000 squatters. How did I arrive at the figure 60,000? Well, the government usually estimates each household to have 5 members. So we multiply 12,000 households by 5, we get 60,000. I would rewrite the lead paragraph to this. The government agency in charge of protecting Laguna Lake plans to evict more than 60,000 people and keep them off the polluted lake using barricades. So again, in writing the lead paragraph, you have to highlight, emphasize the most important detail in the story. Government agencies sometimes would like to hide these harsh truths. Our job as journalists is to make sure that the readers get the clear picture or the real picture. Now, how about you guys? I'd like you to write a lead paragraph, the lead paragraph only, using these details. More instructions will be given in this module. I would like to stop here for now, and in our next session, we'll talk about how to write the rest of the news story. Thank you for watching.
Thank you. So that's all for me.
Professor Felipe Salvosa. So I learned a lot from that, sir. Sana magawa ko rin ang ginawa po ninyong video. So thank you so much, sir. Then